frustration tolerance, I believe, because over the 6 years we have been through a lot of things, like bad times where we didn't have any money, like many challenges entering the medical sector as us as engineers. Thermy is a Mexican health tech company with the mission of saving lives from breast cancer. Like local governments to foundations that provide like health services to isolated communities in Mexico.
Welcome all of you guys. We have someone very special. I think someone who's been part of LIF-6 and someone who's been part of the LIF Advance as well. So Thermy is the company that he has founded. His name is Enrique, and he is from Mexico. So Enrique, do you want to talk about, welcome to the show, welcome to the podcast again, and this is episode 4. Maybe if you can just briefly talk about your startup, what you do, it would be amazing for all of us, for us to listen from you. So Enrique, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, this amazing podcast. Yeah, as you mentioned, I am co-founder of Thermy. Thermy is a Mexican health tech company with the mission of saving lives from breast cancer. And for that, we have developed a medical device that uses thermal imaging and artificial intelligence so we can help physicians and institutions to detect breast cancer in early stages using this amazing technology that allows us to find changes in temperature that can indicate the presence of an illness so we can treat it as soon as possible. So that's what we have been doing in the past 6 years. So very excited to share what we have learned in this like long journey.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty interesting challenge to take on, and I think you can impact the lives of a lot of people. And again, it's a global problem that you're trying to solve, leveraging tech. And I would also want to congratulate you for being one of the finalists, for the Idea to Change History Channel Challenge. That's what I got to know about. So congratulations on that. So how was your journey in that? And you want to talk about it?
Yeah. I believe that it's very important to seek support when you are starting your company, your idea, or maybe when you are already on the market. It's very important to keep seeking for this kind of support. And there are a lot of calls for this kind of projects. So we applied for the History Channel, One Idea to Change the World, where they showcase amazing projects all around Latin America that are trying to solve a big issue in their countries or maybe all around the globe. So we were happy to be selected as one of those amazing projects. And after that, we were asked to look for votes. So it was kind of a competition asking for votes all around. This one was only for Mexico, so it was kind of difficult since I have a lot of friends in the LIF global community. They couldn't help us, but yeah, the Mexicans did it. And yeah, it was an amazing experience because we kind of validated the need of our technology with people we didn't knew. We have over 90,000 votes from all around Mexico. So that was a very good figure. We didn't expect to have as much as that. So really helped us to validate the need of our solution. And at the same time, it helped us with financial support. At the end, we ended up in second place. So we were awarded with some grants money. So it was really helped us to boost the launch of our product already in the market. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's very important to seek to this kind of support that are everywhere and they are willing to help if your project is solving some problem in the community.
Wow. So I think that must have been really crazy experience being on the national media and getting so much of votes and so much of love and so much of being in the news. So I understand that you're an amazing mission. You've got, you've made your product and you're in the market trying to solve some very big global challenges. So how do you see as your strengths in terms of what do you see as your 3 strengths of your startups?
Yeah, I believe that the number one, and I was criticized about it in the beginning, because I believe that my first or my biggest strength is my team. We are five co-founders. So at the beginning, they tell us you are a lot of like co-founders. How do you manage to do that? But in the long term, it really helps us to kind of delegate and kind of uh, assign work to everyone. So we don't feel the pressure as one or two co-founders, but we can kind of share it between us. So it was really help to have this amazing thing in the past 6 years. Each one of us has a very particular strength. And we have one amazing software developer that is Kevin, one great man with experience in medical devices here in Mexico, that is Pedro, one amazing like interlocutor and like marketer, that is Andre, my co-founder, and my other co-founder Jorge, that is amazing using AI. And I ended up like putting us all together and really helping in the administration of the company. So each one of us has a specific task. So that's the number one strength. The second one, I believe that is empathy. We are a very empathetic team. We all have like close relatives, like or friends, even mothers for one of my co-founders that have passed cancer. So we decided to help others instead of like trying to find something that like causes pain directly to us, but we rather prefer to help others than sometimes ourselves. So that's one very key like strength that we have. We like to help people, and that had opened us a lot of doors in the way. And the third one, I believe that will be either strength or maybe I should call it um, um, like frustration tolerance, I believe, because over the 6 years we have been through a lot of things, like bad times where we didn't have any money, like many challenges entering the medical sector as us as engineers, entering this new like area of research and like credential. It was kind of difficult for us to enter as bionic engineers, but yeah, over the time we learn how to address this, how to be like resilient. I will be the best word to describe this, to be resilient over the years and really evolve and change and learn. So that will be all three strengths in like in Thermy, I believe, Suraj.
Oh wow, I think that's crazy. I mean, handling five co-founders is gonna be and being the CEO and handling all of them, it's gonna be pretty intense. And I think I heard for the first time empathy as being one of the strengths. I think I've never heard about that, but I think it's pretty amazing the way you look at it. And persistence and perseverance, I think, and again being five with the team put together, I think it's gonna be it's crazy, but it's hats off to you guys. Now coming over to your product, I think you recently launched your product, and I feel and I get an understanding that you have found the product market fit in terms of where you want to the product to go around it. So do you want to maybe talk about a little bit about your product in terms of who typically your customers are, how do you work? You work with partners, or you work with distributors, or you directly sell them, and who are your customers? A little bit about the product.
Yeah. So we have like different approaches for this because, as you may know, in the health sector, there are many stakeholders. You have the patient, that is the most important thing. You have to deliver a good quality service to the women so they can really look for your service, for your screening test in this case. But also, they have their own like family doctors, gynecologists, or personal doctors that sometimes they indicate which tests they should have. So it's important that physicians know us And also we have the big institutions like public hospitals, private hospitals, the like public healthcare institutions that provide like insurance and so on. And we started like looking first for the institutions because they were the the main source of development in new treatment and in new screening technologies. So first of all, we allied with the Breast Cancer Foundation here in Mexico City. They helped us being host for our clinical trials. And after that, with all that media traction we gathered from the clinical trials and inviting women to participate, we kind of polish our approach. So we wanted to deliver the service first. Uh, since we have developed a medical device, the usual way is we are going to start selling devices, no? But we kind of understood that it was better for us in the first stage to offer the service, to have all like the responsibility and all the control of the operation in this first stage, so we can ensure that our test for the women has the quality that we have like proposed, that the patient are giving us feedback, and also the institutions are like happy with the results. So what we are doing now, we are offering our screening services to like local governments, to foundations that provide like health services to isolated communities in Mexico, also with health institutions that also provide other services. So what we are doing now is we are going to these places all around Mexico. We just arrived from one of the peninsulas in the western part of Mexico to the other peninsula that we have in the eastern part. So we're moving around all the country offering these services and really reaching out those women that don't have access to early breast cancer detection. So we ally with local foundations. We offer our services to a really low cost so they can get to know it and have this screening test without any issue. And after that, we deliver directly the results and we advise them to follow up with the local health institutions or with their personal doctors. So this is our first stage. So far, we have screened over 700 women that have paid for their tests. So it's a good start. In the last quarter, we have these figures. And the second model that we haven't tested yet is the direct sale of our device and only like charging per like per tests that our AI analyzes. So having like kind of license of our software, so they have a certain number of interpretations or an AI analysis. So that's the second phase. For that, we have to go to a regulation process and to have all the registries as a medical device really done, so we can start that second phase. We are not yet there, but we are like looking to test as well this second revenue stream. But yeah, it was being like trial and error to try to find the correct like price tag and for the test. So it was really interesting to get to know the different like opinions all around the country.
Cool. I think perfect. Very interesting. And in terms of like you spoke about the product, in terms of we've been going around Mexico and people are getting paid for it. And it's a very interesting model that you're doing in terms of like, you're not selling the device initially, but just getting it as a service. So all the data that is collected, so you have a much more smarter data and then it gets smarter over a period of time. That's pretty cool. However, with this hardware in picture and being used on a person, what are the certifications involved? And uh, uh, and have you looked at the certifications from a global standpoint and from a Mexico country standpoint? So how do you see that happening? I mean, and what are certifications you have, or share that story?
Yeah, as a medical device, we need to be like regulated by either like a medical device regulator, or here in Mexico we have one that oversees like food, drugs, anything related with health risk. So we need to have that regulation. We need to be registered as a medical device, since we are offering we are not offering a final diagnosis, but we are a support for the diagnosis to the physicians. So you need to really know where are you in the all the like path of being a medical device. Either you give diagnose, either you are a support for the diagnose, either you are a treatment, either you are a monitoring tool. You first need to know where you are in this big picture. And with that, you need to submit this kind of application to be registered as a medical device in your specific use or intended use. So that was our first approach here in Mexico. Mexico is like in a second level after the FDA in terms of rigor and like be renowned as a regulation authority in the world. So with that, well, we can have like kind of I don't know the exact word, but it will be valid through other Latin American countries. For example, Colombia, Peru, maybe Argentina, and so on. So with that, we are planning to go to the Latin American countries with this registry that we are having here in Mexico. But also, since we know that it's a global problem, breast cancer affects over 2.3 million women all around the world. We want to have an FDA approval, and for that, we also are seeking. There are many like options there. There are the pre-market approvals that for our technology, breast thermography, there are being other products that have been like approved by the FDA for this specific purpose. So we are looking to follow that path with the pre-market approval. It's kind of costly since we have to kind of have all this happening from like Mexico, maybe going there and submit the application to the FDA. So it's kind of like costly, but it's one of the paths that we are looking for. So far, we have some like notifications here in Mexico. We have like the first approval here in Mexico to offer our services. We have like our how it's called notification of operation here in Mexico. We have notified the authority that we are delivering these services, that we have medical like like authorities that are responsible of tending the patients. So yeah, so far as that we still have to surpass this to the regulation as a medical device type 1, and also like maybe follow the FDA approval after this.
Perfect, Enrique. So I think you spoke about the product, you spoke about how you're trying to sell it. Now coming to the aspect of LIF, how the LIF community can play a role. So what are your expectations from LIFers? Are you looking at partnering with another LIFer who can co-sell, co-partner, co-build, or can be your distributor represent you? So what kind of a partner are you looking in the LIF community?
Of course, yeah, I believe that one of the best outcomes of the LIF program is the amazing community that we have. We have a lot of talent in different areas and sectors. And yeah, since we are like few or like the most challenging one are the ones that we are in the health sector, I would really like to connect with other like LIFers that are in the health tech sector so we can share how, for example, how the regulation works in each country. That's very interesting. If it's better to have, for example, an FDA, that is easier to have like this homologation or this like kind of using the same register that you have in the FDA to other countries that have the value and can be applied on. That will be really interesting to know other LIFers in that sector. But also, yeah, others that are working in specifically in cancer research or even in breast cancer, that will be great. But because one of the things that we have learned is in health services, if you offer more, like not only focusing in breast cancer, but also maybe in other like health issues for women, for example, gynecologists or other like services will be better, the final offer to the patient. So that will be great. So we can start creating these like international offers of different technologies, not only for health in women, but for health in general. That would be great to have this kind of association of health services that comes to mind. And yeah, that would be great to connect with other LIFers in this sector. And as well, anyone that could help us. We are learning in different areas, in the administrative area, in like the marketing area. So all help is welcome.
Cool, cool. So I understood that you're looking at LIFers who are focused on healthcare, or example, the medical space. And again, the LIFers who are working maybe in the cancer specific areas. And it's a pretty good approach that you want to keep it broad as well and specific as well. However, within this part, I think we got LIFers from across 17 countries. So do you have like top 3 countries in mind, like, which would be your lowest hanging fruit, or you feel that these could be my primary focus areas where I would want to engage with the LIFers first? I mean, like, do you have these countries in mind?
Yeah, I believe that Colombia, Peru will be like the very first to come to mind, because we are in the same like continent. We share a lot of similar geographical, cultural, and even political circumstances. So will be great to connect with those. And also we know that we have Chilean like LIFers, so that will be great to also connect with them. I haven't had the pleasure to meet them directly, but will be great to connect with those also. That will the 3 countries that come to mind.
Perfect, perfect. And these LIFers in Colombia, in Peru, in Chile, example, like, who are into medtech space, who are into like, cancer specific areas, how would you be engaging, or what do you intend to engage with them in terms of like, are you looking at selling them the machines, and then like, that revenue model will be like that, or what is the kind of engagement? Because I believe that like, these guys have connections, so you like, they would represent you or be a part of you, and what would be their focus areas over there in that particular country? So like, so if you could be a little bit share little or more about that, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I believe there are several like opportunities for partnership. First that comes to mind is to validate the need of our services, and the key like value that our technology has is that the the IP that we have, or the product that we have, is mostly software. It can work with any or almost any commercial thermal camera. So the proposition here will be to have them like seek for partners in their home country that have access to thermal cameras. Either we could contact with our main manufacturer that have presence in all Latin America, so we can like test one of the devices, and we can share the license of our software, so they can like start like with little investment in providing these kind of services. And us from Mexico, we still be delivering the final results. We'll be using our AI from here from Mexico and our physicians to validate the results and send them through the cloud to this in different country kind of points that we will have. So that will be interesting to check if this is possible. But more than that, also we want to have or to know their projects. If they have already some kind of medical device or medical service, maybe we could here in Mexico offer those as well. So it will be like a technology share between us, so we can like broader the how to know how to call it, like the number of service that we can offer to the patient. So So yeah, that will be the first. And also, as I mentioned, to really get to know what are the challenges in each different country, in regulation wise, like in financially, it will be great to either talk with them, regardless of if we are like launching together these kind of services.
Wow. So I think that's pretty interesting that you spoke about in terms of bartering the medtech services and then like representing each other in the same medical space. And like, that's pretty interesting. Even in terms of licensing, it could be interesting. So it could start off with. And thanks, Enrique. And coming to the last part of part of the podcast where I want to talk about. So LIF happened, LIF-6 happened with you, and then the LIF Advance happened. You've been through LIF twice. So uh, are there certain learnings that you've gone through, or what are your biggest takeaways from LIF, or do you have some very interesting success stories, or that changed you, or gave you a new perspective? So we would want to hear from you, what is the impact that has LIF had on you? So I think after both the episodes, or else you can talk about LIF-6 and then maybe LIF Advance as well. So I think
Great. Yeah, there have been a lot of like learnings from the two programs. And I believe that the very first that really shocked me was first the quality of the mentors. One of them, David Falsani, really like kind of opened my mind in some of the key aspects of a company. That is the sales and the pricing. Because we tend to be really human as like innovators and as leafers. We want to deliver the highest quality product or services at the lowest cost. That is our key like thing that I saw when we were in the LIF program. We really want to help people, but what David told me is you cannot be both. Either you are the great or the greatest service out there, you are the highest quality product out there, and you charge that is reflected in the price. For example, and maybe not now is the case, but for example, Apple in the past offered one of the best cell phones out there, and the price tag was aligned with that. And on the other side, you have the lowest price, the most accessible ones. And there are two opposite sides of the pricing. So in order to grow, you need to be the best in only one of those aspects. So that was, I think, that really shocked me, because yeah, I really wanted to offer a quality service that was really accessible to women. So it was kind of difficult to see that we were offering a really quality product, and also that we will need to reflect that in the price tag. So that's one of the biggest changes that we did. We kind of make our market research in order to see where were the price tags in like breast cancer screening techniques, mammography, ultrasound, MRI, and kind of put it ourselves in the upper middle, so we could like really show that we were offering a non-contact, painless, without any kind of harmful radiation test. And really women like valuated that, or really liked that. So it was a very interesting point to really get to know that. The second one will be that regardless of the region, the talent and the technology are have the same opportunities. Here in Mexico, being the neighbors of the biggest economy in the world, kind of like put us in a mood that we are not good enough, or we don't have enough resources to produce a quality product or a quality service. But when we went to the LIF program in London, we really kind of saw that that wasn't the case. We were up to the standards of like the UK, other countries. So we only need to believe in our technology, in our talent. So because yeah, we are in the same, either we don't have the same opportunities like other more developed countries, we have like the talent and the access to this kind of technologies. So we need to really be proud that we have done with the little resources that we have, and really like be self-aware that we are really valuable in that standpoint. And finally will be that, yeah, in order to grow, to really like put your product to the to the public, you need to really believe and to really commit with this. It is also a very hard thing to do, because you need to maybe sometimes decide either continue with your studies or continue with like a part-time job. Being an entrepreneur is really like time consuming, and you need to be 100% sure and 100% committed with this. So also it was a big step to do, to really like uh, know that this is a kind of a life opportunity that you need to take, and you need to take the risk. And yeah, believe in your team, believe in your technology, and don't be afraid to change, because it's one thing that us as engineers are kind of reluctant. We really want to our first idea to be the idea that goes to the market, but in the road maybe that will change, and we need to be open to make some fix and tweaks, and yeah, kind of go around to the board and erase all the thing that we have done in the past. But yeah, it's kind of the risk that we have, because we are validating not only the technical aspect but also the commercial and the acceptance of our services. So we need to be open to change and to really like uh, do the things that we need to do in order to grow. So yeah, that will be the tricky things that I have learned that really impacted us from the bot programs. I believe that in the LIF Advance only like focus more in the growth and in the international scale, but yeah, it's the same.
Wow. So I think that, and again, that was pretty cool. I mean, in terms of the first one is pretty incredible. You can't have the highest quality and the price point of it. You can't have both of them, and then you need to choose one. And getting that perspective, and I think I'm sure that would have blown your minds and then made you think on what to choose, and it becomes a very hard thing to choose as well. And what I have read about Mexico is that currently, maybe if Mexico is the 16th largest GDP in the world, I think Mexico is going to be in the top 10 economies in the world in the next 10 years. I think that's what PwC and everybody talks about. So if I'm not wrong, I think Mexico is going to be around 7th or 8th in the next 10 to 15 years. I think it's got an amazing population and amazing culture. And coming to the final question, like, so the LIF alumni community is super huge and it's growing. We have the LIF Advance 3 that's coming up. We have the LIF Global 2023, and by the time this podcast is going to be there, they're going to be starting the courses. So being an alumni and being part of LIF 6 and then going through few years and then coming back in Advance, what do you feel or what do you think would be the best way to engage the alumni? Because the alumni is so diverse, there are so much time zones, so much of different cultural differences spread across the world. So what could be your one way or 3 ways, like, which you believe, if approached, could engage the community more? So I think.
Yeah, I think that, and I want to congratulate you, Suraj, for this, that this kind of conversations and sharing like the overall experience, and maybe not the good, so like the mistakes that we have done, it's really important and really like good for like a startup that is like in the first steps of growth, or that I have like an idea and I don't know if I will be the person to put it in a startup. So it's really great to have access to this kind of like experience and advice for other people that have already done that. So I believe that this kind of conversations and it's a great activity. Other than that, I believe that also like um, having more access or even like conversation with other LIFers with other countries, because here in Mexico we have a strong like LIF community. We have like like social media groups. We connect also in the LIF innovator platforms. But apart from that, we need to really strengthen like the international like networking, because we have amazing like talents for over the world. Maybe we could share similar situations or similar like approaches to solving a problem. So that will be great to really know others from the LIF community. And for that, I believe that maybe creating some kind of, if not like a mensual kind of meetings that we can share maybe in certain areas, like in health tech, in education, in like farming, or like food tech, specific topics. That will be great to share between our pairs, like what are the trends, what we are doing, what are the expectations that we have. And yeah, that will be great. And a tier one that I believe more open, like in terms of not too technical, not too business center, because as I mentioned, being in a startup needs 100% of your commitment, but also that is kind of a burden. You need some time to like, I don't know, to think in other things, like think in something else, to really like stress out and let all that pressure that we have out. So maybe more dynamic activities in order to get us know as persons, as humans. Will be great to have more like social activities, or either like to enrich other like soft skills, like in communication, or other like more heartwarming experiences. Because yeah, we all need to balance all things in life, like work and leisure, and yeah, that would be a good opportunity to the LIF community to really host this kind of activities only for fun.
So I think that's been pretty awesome. I mean, you spoke about international networking, maybe segment based with a twist of fun, maybe. So I think that could actually be pretty interesting. So I think that's an interesting takeaway, and we're going to see how we are able to get that thing running. And thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being on the podcast to talk about your startup. And I believe the startups within LIF, and especially the medtech, because there's a huge medtech community in LIF, and I think all these guys should come together, or we could make a platform or something, Subway, wherein the medtech guys can come together and try to engage and try to do a lot of things together. I think this could be an immense possibilities over there. So that's all for now, and thank you so much for being on the podcast, and I look forward to meeting you soon, and maybe next year I might be in Mexico, so I'll touch base with you there as well, and we'll see how things happen. And thanks to you, and thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, Shura. Yeah, welcome, and please let me know so I can like maybe give you a quick tour around Mexico City, or either like other amazing parts of the country that we have. But yeah, welcome to come here in Mexico.